Okay, it's recording, so we're going to get started with hopefully the first 15 problems for the final exam review. And just a quick reminder that if you haven't completed the student evaluation, please do so. If you have already, appreciate it. Yeah, that's the only announcement. Okay, so for number one, it says solve for y. You have 7y plus 3 equals to 38. So we need to get y by itself. So we're going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides. And now we have 7y equals to 35. And to get y by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 7. And we get y equals to 5. Number 2, we have 4x minus 11x equals negative 14 plus a negative 14. On the left-hand side, we can combine these x's. So 4x minus 11x will give us negative 7x. That equals to negative 28. And now to get x by itself, divide both sides by negative 7. And this gives us x is equal to 4. You mind if I start scrolling too fast? Let me know, because I want to make sure you have time to write down whatever notes you need. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Number 3, we have 12 plus 5x equals to 6 times x plus 2. Well, we're going to have to distribute the 6. So first, let's just copy down the 12 plus 5x. And now that equals 6 times x gives me 6x. And now plus 6 times 2 gives me 12. And need to get everything with x on one side, everything that does not have x on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. And this gives me 12 is equal to x plus 12. And now to get x by itself, let's subtract 12 from both sides. And we wound up with x is equal to 0. You know what? Let's continue. Okay, number 4, we have 2 times x minus 2 equals to 5x plus 17. Start by distributing the 2. 2 times x gives me 2x, and 2 times -2 gives me -4 equals 5x plus 17. Now I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And now this leaves me -4 equals to 3x plus 17. Now let's subtract 17 from both sides. On the left-hand side, -4 plus a -17 gives me a -21. That equals to 3x. Now divide both sides by 3. It gives me x equals to -7. In number 5, we have x over 14 equals to 9 over 21. And now to solve this for x, we're going to cross multiply. So x times 21 would give me 21x. And now that equals to 14 times 9 equals 126. And now divide both sides by 21. So I get x is equal to 126 divided by 21, which equals 6. Okay, for number 6, we have an equation to graph. So it says to graph (2x minus y) equals to 4. And there's several ways to do this. You could do a table of x values, y values. You could use x-intercepts, y-intercepts, because since this is a line, then we only need 2 points. So I'm going to use x and y intercepts. So x-intercept, that means that my y has to equal 0. So when I have an ordered pair, I automatically know my y is going to be 0. And I'm going to substitute y equals to 0 back up in the equation. So this is going to give me 2x minus 0 equals to 4, which is just 2x equals to 4. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x is equal to 2. So now I'll put this up here. Next, for my y-intercept, I let x equal 0. So for my ordered pair, we're going to have my x is 0, and we're going to find out what y equals. So now in this equation, I'm going to substitute x equal to 0. So I have 2 times 0 minus y equals to 4. And this is negative y equals to 4. I need this y to be positive, so I can multiply both sides by -1. So -1 times negative y gives me a positive y equals to 4 times -1, which is -4. So now I have 2 points. So now we can graph this. So x-axis, y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, -4, -1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to plot this point 2, 0. We're starting at the origin. I move 2 to the right, 1, 2. And here's my point 2, 0. Now we plot the point 0, -4. So starting at the origin, x equals 0, y equals -4. We're going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the point 0, -4. Now we have 2 points. We can connect them with one straight line. So that's the graph. And like I said, there's different ways to do it. I just chose to use x-intercept, y-intercept. But just do what you understand to do. What may be easier for you. Oops. Okay, number 7 says find the perimeter of the following rectangle. So find the perimeter. Here's our rectangle. We have x and x minus 4. We're going to let x minus 4 be the length and let x be the width. The for perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And now we can just substitute in the length and the width. So we have 2 times L with a length, which is x minus 4, plus 2 times W, which is x. So the perimeter equals, now distribute the 2 times x gives me 2x, and 2 times -4 gives me -8, plus 2 times x is 2x. Now I combine like terms, 2x plus 2x gives me 4x, and bring down -8. And we stop here. We didn't have to set this equal to 0, solve for x. Now we just use the formula for perimeter, 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, substituted in the length and the width, and then simplify. So the perimeter is just the equation 4x minus 8. Okay, for number 8, see, it has a gallon of paint covers 300 square feet. How many gallons of paint will be needed to cover the side of a building that measures 120 feet by 80 feet? Okay, so we have 1 gallon of paint. Covers 300 square feet or feet squared. How many gallons are needed to cover a side of a building that measures 120 feet times 180 feet? Well, first, let's just multiply this together. So we get 120 feet times 80 feet, going to give us something feet squared. As feet times feet, you add your exponents and you'll get feet squared. And now 120 times 80, 120 times 80 equals 9,600 square feet. So now we're going to rewrite this stuff so that we have 1 gallon equals 300 square feet. And that's going to equal how many gallons equals 9,600 square feet. And then we have these fractions, and we're going to cross multiply. So 300 times x gives me 300x, and this equals 1 times 9,600 is 9,600. And I'll divide both sides by 300. And so we wind up with x is equal to 9,600 divided by 300. It equals 32. And since this x is the same as this, then we know this means 32 gallons. Any questions so far, Imani, about anything? Imani, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, for number 9, the standard dose of medicine for a cat is 2 grams for every 15 pounds of body weight. What is the standard dose for a cat that weighs 20 pounds? And write your answer as a mixed number. Okay, so the standard dose of medicine for a cat is 2 grams for every 15 pounds. And that's going to equal, this is what is the dose or how many grams for a cat that weighs 200 pounds. So we set our proportions, and now we can cross multiply to solve for x. So 15 times x is 15x. And now that equals, cross multiply this way, we get 2 times 200, which is 400. And now divide both sides by 15. And this gives me x equals to 400 divided by 15. Wait a minute. They said write my answer. Write your answer as a mixed number. Okay. So I was getting ready to start dividing. Had to go back and look at what they wanted me to do. Okay, write your answer as a mixed number. So let's rewrite 400 divided by 15 this way. 400 divided by 15. And this will give us the mixed number that they're asking for. Okay, so 15 goes into 40 3 times. No, 3 times. No, so it'd be twice. Okay, 2 times 15 is 30. 0 minus 0, 0. 4 minus 3, 1. Bring down this 0. 15 goes into 100 6 times. And now 6 times 15 is 90. And then 100 minus 90 gives me 10. So now we have what we need to write our answer in as a mixed number. $26. And the remainder is 10. And then the divisor is the denominator. Now this is interesting because I worked this out. They got 2 2/3. I can see the 2/3, but I did something wrong. What I do wrong? Because when I reduce this, this gives me 26, and that fraction gives me 2/3. But they have 2 2/3 as the answer. I have 26 2/3. All right. Let me pause for a second while I figure out what I did wrong. I set the problem up wrong. Wow. I see what I did. Ain't that a kick in the... Okay. Right here. Why did I write 200 pounds? That cat's not 200 pounds. It's 20 pounds. Okay. Wait a second, that'd be a big cat if it was 200 pounds. Okay. I sure did. Look at that. 1 extra 0. Okay. Let's try this again. It is cross multiply. Let me make sure I got this set up right. Okay, 2 grams for every 15 pounds of weight. And how many grams is for 20 pounds, not 200 pounds? Now cross multiply. 15 times x gives me 15x, and equals 2 times 20 gives me 40. Now we divide both sides by 15. And this gives me x is equal to 40 divided by 15, which we're going to write this way because we do want the answer as a mixed number. Okay, 15 goes into 40. 2 times. 2 times 15 is 30. 0 minus 0, 0. 4 minus 3 is 1. So now we write this as our mixed number. 2. 2 is the whole number. My remainder is the numerator, and the divisor is the denominator. Okay. This equals 2. And when I reduce 10 over 15, I get the fraction 2 2/3. Okay. So be 2 2/3 grams for a cat that weighs 20 pounds. Again, not 200 pounds. Okay. Keep it moving. Number 10. Find the length of the missing side of the right triangle. Write your answer as a whole number or a square root. Okay. Right triangle. One leg is X, the other leg is 13 inches, and the longest side is 15 inches. So now this means the longest side, 15 inches squared equals to X squared plus 13 squared. 15 squared is 15 times 15, just 225. And that equals to X squared plus 13 squared should be 169. Yep. And now subtract 169 from both sides. Okay, 225 minus 169 equals 56. And that equals to X squared. And now we take the square root of both sides. So I have square root of X squared equals to square root of 56. This gives me X equals, now square root of 56, they say write your answer as a whole number or a square root. But since there isn't one number times a number that'll give you 56, you want to leave your answer as the square root of 56. If the answer had been something like square root of 64, then we would have written 8. Or if it had been the square root of 81, we would have wrote 9. Or if it had been the square root of 4, we would have wrote 2. But since it was square root of 56, we just left it as square root of 56. Why is this following me down the page like that? Strange. Okay, let's try this. Oh. Okay, number 11, 95% of 400 is what number? Number 11, 95% of 400 is what number? This is in words. Let's translate this. 95% as a decimal is 0.95. Of means to multiply and bring down 400. Is means equal. And what number? Let's just call it X. So now we just multiply 0.95 times 400. And this gives us 380. So 95% of 400 is 380. Number 12, 15% of what number is 90? 15% of what number is 90? Okay, let's translate this. 15% as a decimal, 0.15. Of means to multiply. What number? We'll call that X. Is means equals 90. So we have 0.15 times X equals 90. Divide both sides by 0.15. And that gives me X is equal to 90 divided by 0.15, which is 600. So 15% of 600 is 90. Number 13, before taking a typing course, Jana could type 36 words per minute. By the end of the course, she was able to type 97 words per minute. Find the percent of increase and round to the nearest 10th percent. So find percent of increase. She started at 36 words per minute. And then by the end of the course, she was up to 97 words per minute. Well, first we find the amount of increase. So first, amount of increase. So that's 97 minus 36, which equals 61. And now second, find the percent of increase. Find percent of increase by saying 61 is what percent of 36. So 61 is what percent of 36. If that's in words, let's translate this to something we can solve. So 61 is what percent of 36? You have 61 equals to 36 times x. Divide both sides by 36. And this gives me x is equal to 61 divided by 36. .69 and a bunch of fours. 1.69444. But this is a decimal. We need to change this to 8%. So we have x equals to 1.69444 as a decimal. As a percent, want to move our decimal 2 places to the right. 1, 2. That gives us 169.444. Now for this problem, it said round to the nearest tenth. So the nearest tenth means 1 place after the decimal. So here, underline this 4, look to the right. That number is less than 5, so the underlined number stays the same. And so does the 169.4%. So the first thing we did was we found the amount of increase, and then to find the percentage of increase, we took the 61. That was the amount of increase, and said 61 is what percent of 36. Changed it to an equation that we could solve for x. X was a decimal, and we changed that to a percent by moving the decimal 2 places to the right, rounded to the nearest tenth, and then added a 8% sign. Okay, next up, number 14. After 8 months, Joellen lost or has lost 75 pounds. This is a 30% decrease in her starting weight. Find her starting weight. So after 8 months, Joellen has lost 75 pounds. This, okay, this refers to 75 pounds is 30% of her starting weight. So 75 pounds is 30% of her starting weight. So this equals 75 equals, change the percent to a decimal. Of means to multiply, so I'm using parentheses. And starting weight, let that be x. So we have 75 equals to 0.30 times x. Divide both sides by 0.30. And so I get x is equal to 75 divided by 0.30. which equals 250. So this was her starting weight, 250 pounds. Okay, last one for today. Number 15, okay, 15 subtracted from a number is negative 23. 15 subtracted from a number is negative 23. Here's how I like to write these problems. 15 subtracted from some number is negative 23. And that's something I've come up with just over years of doing this and teaching and trying to find a good way to teach how to translate from words to an equation. And once we have this equation, we solve this for x by adding 15 to both sides. And so I get x is equal to negative 23 plus 15 gives me a negative 8. And x equals to negative 8. Imani, any questions about the first 15 problems that we went through today?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll get this video ready and posted, and then Wednesday we'll do the next 15. So enjoy the rest of your day, okay?
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.